Hello and welcome to yet another module on physical education, and today we are talking about drill and marching. Drill commands are generally used with a group that is marching, most often in military foot drill or marching band. All branches of the military use drill commands. Now the command voice. The drill commands are best given in an excellent command voice. A command voice is characterized by DLIPs or DLIPs, distinctness, loudness, inflection, projection and snap. Due to the requirement of the command voice, the actual words of the command undergo elision to the point that those unfamiliar with the specific words may be unable to recognize them. An example of such elision is the command attention, which is usually uttered with the initial A hardly, if at all, audible. 10 is drawn out and shun drastically shortened, such that in popular culture the command often ends up being spelled 10 hot. General principles. Most of the commands in the modern drill are separated into two distinct parts: the preparatory command and the command of execution. The preparatory command indicates to the person performing the movement that a command of execution is soon to follow and which action to perform. The command of execution indicates the movement to be performed. An example of this is the command present arms, which is utilized to command a group of soldiers to render a salute. In this command, the word present is the preparatory command, whereas the following word arms is the command of execution. The movement is performed immediately upon reception of the execution command. When issuing the command, vocal inflection is varied so that the preparatory command is given less emphasis and the most emphasis is placed on the command of execution. There is usually a slight hesitation between each element of the command about the duration of a finger snap. Other examples of the two-part command structures are right flank march, order arms. The vast majority of armies perform their drill from the base position of attention. In this position, the person performing the movement stands straight, arms down and slightly flexed, fingers curled into the palm, thumbs pointed down and placed against the seam of the trouser, and the feet positioned at a 45-degree angle with heels together. The most common command given by leaders to gather their elements into formations is command fallen, at which time the person takes their position in the formation and at the position of attention. From this position, almost any other drill command can be executed. In Commonwealth drill styles, troops will generally fall in without formal commands and then be brought to attention in order to begin the drill. Most commands are the same across all three services, but there are significant differences in the way movements are carried out. Mark time. March without movement in the quick time pace. a pace of 116 paces to the minute normal and up to 140 paces to the minute, that is rifle regiments. Forward, continue marching in quick time without breaking step. Changing step on the march. Order to step in on the left foot on the march. Despite the name, no change in the step should be made if completed properly. Now commands: squad, detail, platoon, company, etc. Warning of further commands to the group if stood easy. The response is to push your arms down behind your back and let your shoulders lock into place. Brace and push your chest out and hold your head up high. If stood at ease or at attention, no response should occur beyond listening for further words of command. Attention, pronounced shun in British Army and RAF and ho in the Royal Navy. Bring your left leg up at 90 degrees and stamp down so both of your feet are in a V shape. In the Royal Navy, however, the Scot bring the left foot over to the right without stamping so that the feet are at 45-degree angle. This is traditionally done in the interest of not putting one's foot through the deck of a ship. Stand at ease, given when stood at attention. Bring your left leg up to a 90-degree angle. Stamp down so feet are shoulder width apart. Hands return to being clasped behind your back, staying braced up. Stand easy. Bring your arms behind your back at the top of your behind and no longer need to be braced up. Squat will advance left turn. Use the toes of your right foot and the heel of your left to pivot to your left. Stamp down like you would in squat attention. Squat right turn. Use the heel of your right foot and toes of your left to pivot to your right. Stamp down like you would in squat attention. Squat will advance about turn. Do a 180-degree turn. Pivoting on the heel of your right foot and on the toes of your left foot, always turn around your right shoulder. Squat by the halt, left incline. Do what you would do in a left turn, but only turn 45 degrees. Squat by the halt, right incline. Do what you would do in a right turn, but only turn 45 degrees. Squat salute to the front, salute. Bring your right hand up to the brim of your hat, facing forward so it is just blocking a quarter of your right eye. Squat salute to the right, salute. Bring your hand up to the brim of your hat, your hand in the same position as the front salute, but turn your head to the right. Squat salute to the left, salute. Do the same as salute to the right, but to the left. Squat right dress. Everyone snaps head to the right and the front rank moves so they are about an arm's length from person to their right, with the center and rear ranks moving to stay in line. Drill is marching. In ancient history, the most powerful, efficient and developed empire developed ways of moving organized units of troops from one place to another on the battlefield without individuals getting mixed up with other units. Otherwise, as masses of people maneuvered amongst each other, individuals would get lost and end up having to attach themselves to any old unit. A system of flags was developed so people could identify their own units and side on the field and make their way to the correct flag bearer if they got separated. But sticking to formed up squads was better, forming a box of men who moved as a single body. Overall, it meant command systems were effective. Men stayed together and could be commanded as units. Josephus, a 1st century Jewish historian, testifies to the superiority of Roman discipline, and part of that discipline was an ordered method of moving formed up squads from one place to another. This discipline facilitates effective realization of tactical management, and the result is a superior fighting army. During what historians have reluctantly come to call the military revolution, European armies between 1550 and 1720 became generally state controlled, financed and permanent. There was a resultant loss of individuality with the need for better organization, good training, especially in drill and strict discipline. Training became an institution. Since then, drill has become increasingly important as part of training, discipline and military parades. Goose stepping was a form of extreme marching held by German, Prussian and Russian heads of military to be an ultimate display of the unbreakable will and discipline of its soldiers. Most modern marching is not as extreme as the rigid goose step. Anything that resembles it is now unpopular because it has become associated with fascism. Nevertheless, it is still used by some countries as a powerful display of military discipline. Military drill in the army is formalized with utmost precision in the fearsomely bulky drill book. The preamble to the drill book states that drill is the foundation of the battle discipline. Drill master and anthropologist Robert Graves says that there are 3 types of troops: those that had guts were no good at drills, those that were good at drill but had no guts, and those that had guts and were good at drills. The last, for some reason or the best, fought by far the best. An army that regularly parades in public displays itself as a highly professional army. Even though the parade itself does not perform any useful function on a battlefield, it has an effect even in times of peace and in build-ups to wars. A ragtag army is likely to be unable to put hold on parades, hence it holds that larger and better armies can display their discipline by means of public performances. It is therefore act as a psychological tool and as a deterrent. It says that the army is ready, strong and trained. For example, North Korea was facing off against the USA in 2002-2003 and making politically aggressive claims that it was developing nuclear weaponry. It put on a large number of military parades, sometimes including squads of children playing instruments and performing rigid dances, and they received attention in the news commenting on how modern their army and military was. They could clearly be seen to be skilled, and this would act as a deterrent against many lesser armies. German Nazi parades in 1930 were awesome, fast and hard. They clearly formed part of the psychological manipulation tools of the Nazis, making the people feel strong and proud, making them happier to put themselves behind such a dedicated and inspiring home force. So, merely as a deterrent and as home inspiration, drill and parades perform useful military and political functions. As we are concentrated in this text on the ontology of training procedures, we will now concentrate on the role of drill on the personal development of the recruits physically and mentally, and not look at the role of drill in the former military displays. Now, drill and physical training. Not everyone has the control over their bodies that athletes have. Strain, stress, laziness, inability, mental weakness and disfamiliarity prevents most people from having maximum control of their own bodies. When situations become stressful, cold or uncomfortable, then people who have been trained to rigidly form their bodies around their will can undoubtedly perform better than those people whose only mind-body training has been computer games and casual sport. A recruit will spend an apparent eternity stood motionless at attention, sometimes in seemingly unbearable cold or heat. But with each such session, the cold becomes a little more bearable, the motionlessness becomes more familiar and more elegant, and the recruit's body learns a little better how to conform completely to the wishes of its operator. In a tactical situation on sentry, you must remain completely quiet and motionless in order to minimize the chances of being seen or heard. A recruit who has mastered hundreds of hours of drills in the cold and uncomfortable positions will also be a master of his own body in such tactical situations. When a recruit moves on to skills at arms training, the casual motionless and calmness despite discomfort is an essential ability of a good shot. If a recruit is not used to ignoring the minor discomfort of held positions, their minds will be distracted and their firing would be less accurate. Once drill is internalized and your body is accustomed to the discipline, it becomes more like a relaxing meditation than hard work, and your mind can wander. Retrospectively, it feels to some like they no longer find it hard. It is hard, but they have become accustomed to the hardness. Many civilians and military folk like to consider discipline to be the primary role of drill. Parades, it is frequently said, are a display of discipline, and in training it forms a method of instilling discipline that can be visually and physically tested. It is a widely recognized method by which you break the will of untrained civilians so that they obey orders in situations where there is no time for a debate, doubt or delay. Yes, discipline is a major part of drill, but by highlighting the other roles it plays before getting on to this subject, it is also to be highlighted the other functions that drill serves. When training recruits in drill, it tends to bring out people's attitude. Employing typical low-level popular psychology, it is used to drill discipline into recruits by pummeling them harder the more they resist until they break, and when they break they accept that they are rubbish at drill, that they are making mistakes and that they will have to keep doing it until they get as good as they are being trained to be. Until they reach that point of breaking, recruits will resist the training. They may think they are good enough, they may reject the need to do drill, or they may reject the commands or make fun of drill. Once broken, they will accept drill. Although previous attitudes will surface, they won't interfere anymore with the actual obedience to the commands given. In short, their attitude has been overridden by freshly instilled discipline. That is how drill is seen to instill discipline amongst the average person. In addition, drill is used within the armed forces as a punishment. Drill can be made very physically demanding. On the coldest days, a squad commander can drill a group of men until they sweat, their legs and feet ache and hurt, and they can no longer perform the moves with full gusto. It is a form of exercise. Keeping those knees waist high when marking time, that is marching on the spot, can be a form of mild torture, a dynamic stress position. As such, many of the low rankers in the armed forces pretty much hate drill for the memories of the angst, although some come to like it and respect it because they feel that the benefits are both physically and mentally. Now we come to the conclusion of this episode. Drill commands are generally used with a group that is marching, most often in military foot drill or marching band. All branches of the military use drill commands. Now the command voice. The drill commands are best given in an excellent command voice. A command voice is characterized by DLIPs or DLIPs, distinctness, loudness, inflection, projection and snap. Due to the requirement of the command voice, the actual words of the command undergo elision to the point that those unfamiliar with the specific words may be unable to recognize them. An example of such elision is the command attention, which is usually uttered with the initial A hardly, if at all, audible. 10 is drawn out and shun drastically shortened, such that in popular culture the command often ends up being spelled 10 hot. General principles. Most of the commands in the modern drill are separated into two distinct parts: the preparatory command and the command of execution. The preparatory command indicates to the person performing the movement that a command of execution is soon to follow and which action to perform. The command of execution indicates the movement to be performed. An example of this is the command present arms, which is utilized to command a group of soldiers to render a salute. In this command, the word present is the preparatory command, whereas the following word arms is the command of execution. The movement is performed immediately upon reception of the execution command. When issuing the command, vocal inflection is varied so that the preparatory command is given less emphasis and the most emphasis is placed on the command of execution. There is usually a slight hesitation between each element of the command about the duration of a finger snap. So, in this episode we have discussed about the drill and marching, and primarily because drill and marching are being employed in a very good measure in armed forces, and it is an inseparable function of armed forces. That is why we have taken the components which are being practiced in the armed forces. Of course, in the world of physical education, the drill components have been borrowed from the armed forces drill only. So I guess the information provided in this module about the drill functions that we have discussed in depth in the armed forces and how it can be implemented in the physical education area also. I hope the information would be some use to all of you. Thank you so much for watching.